Welcome to the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction Postgame Show. I am James Ham. Joining me, Mr. Rui Thomas. Say hi, Rui. Wave at the camera. Wave at the camera.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
The Sacramento Kings beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 113 to 101. Another huge night by DeMarcus Cousins. 31 points, 18 rebounds. This guy's a beast. That's 10 double-doubles on the season in 13 games. I think that's his sixth straight double-double. Ben McLemore comes out of nowhere to break the zone and to add 22 points, a season-high 22 points for Ben McLemore. Rui, what happened in this game?
Well, James, the Kings came out really slow. The Timberwolves, like a few teams have this season, came out in a 2-3 defense and stuck by it through the third quarter. And the Kings really struggled with that. They struggled with the inbound passes, and they allowed the Timberwolves to get in transition, draw a lot of free throws, and score that way. The Kings, they couldn't make any threes in the first half. They went 2 for 12, which I think allowed the Timberwolves to collapse a bit more on Cousins. But then when McLemore caught fire in the third quarter, I believe that was when they realized they couldn't keep cheating. And then when Derrick Williams hit his three in the fourth quarter, I'm sure all hell went loose.
Derrick Williams hitting three-pointers, cats and dogs, living together, chaos. I know that I did actually listen to a little bit of Minnesota Timberwolves broadcast, and they actually clowned Derrick Williams at one point. He missed a shot, and they're like, "Yep, that's a Derrick Williams we remember." I think it was his three-pointer late in the game. Derrick Williams actually has a really nice game again for Sacramento. 12 points. 6 rebounds, 4 of 7 shooting. He plays 30 minutes. Rui, what are you making of the sudden resurgence of Derrick Williams? You wrote a piece on this for Saturday, but what are you making of the sudden resurgence of Derrick Williams?
Well, I think Malone is rewarding him right now for all the hard work he's put in, behind the scenes in practice. So he's been averaging 7.6 minutes per game coming into tonight. They gave him a season-high 22 minutes last night. He produced, scoring 9 and 10 points in the second quarter. And then tonight, he gives him 30 minutes, and he delivers again, playing aggressive against the team that drafted him second overall. His shot, it does look a lot better. He had some leaning issues with his jumper for the last few years, but he seemed to have corrected that tonight at least. He stepped into that three, which looked really good. He continues to drive strong, and he has the power to complete and one plays. So his defense could still use a lot of work. He has trouble trailing shooters off the dribble or off the ball, but he's giving the Kings a lot of energy. They're not playing Evans anymore, and they're using Williams as a 4 alongside Landry. And they're not giving up too much in the paint either.
Yeah, it's a very interesting development. If my former co-host was here, Mr. Jonathan Santiago, he would say, showcase. That is what the Sacramento Kings are doing. Showcase. Maybe we're on to something here. Maybe we're wrong. But I find it very strange that out of nowhere, 52 minutes over 2 games, where I think he had combined for less than 7 minutes of play over his previous 6 games, including a couple of DMP CDs and a 9-second run in one game, a 39-second run in another game where he absolutely came unhinged. So Derrick Williams getting some action, surprising everyone, and yeah, playing stretch 4, playing all over. I don't know that we still know Derrick Williams' natural position. I don't think it really matters as long as he gives effort, which seems to be one of the issues with him overall. Rui, Andrew Wiggins has a very nice game. He sets his new career high against the Kings. 29 points, 4 steals, 5 rebounds. He goes 9 of 22 from the field in 41 minutes. How did he look to you?
Oh, Wiggins, he was getting a lot of shots in this game, more than I think he usually would with, players like Kevin Martin and Pekovic, on the floor. But I'm really impressed with his post-up game. It's a little Jordan-esque. That seems to be his go-to move, and he can shoot over guys with his fadeaway. And he's definitely, he can run the floor very well and get over people. Right? He finished with a career-high 29 points. He finished strong. He was 5 for 15 at one point, but he did finish 9 for 22 on field goals, made 2 threes very strong from the line, 9 for 10 on free throws, contributed 5 rebounds and 4 steals. He was attacking. Rudy Gay and Ben McLemore were responsible for covering him most of the night, and he was very aggressive against them. So, good things to come for the Timberwolves.
Of the Sorry about that, Rui. Yeah, we had a minor malfunction there with audio. Yeah, you talked about a little bit there, Rui, that the Minnesota Timberwolves were shorthanded tonight. No Ricky Rubio, no Kevin Martin, no Pekovic, no Thaddeus Young. This is a team that was beat up, and this is what we call the classic trap game. I mean, trap game has been really the buzzword of the week with the NFL because the Kansas City Chiefs were warned about a trap game against the Oakland Raiders, and then they found themselves caught in the middle of the trap game where they were looking past them. This is a really, really rough road trip for the Kings. Another 4-game road trip with a back-to-back on Tuesday and Wednesday against the New Orleans Pelicans, followed by the Houston Rockets, followed by the San Antonio Spurs on Friday. Again, we've talked about this so many times. The November schedule for the Sacramento Kings is just absolutely brutal. The fact that they're 8-5 is completely shocking to everyone. And so basically, this was a game that the Kings had to get. This was a game that, of these 4 games, it's very possible that the Kings come back from this road trip 8-8 on the season, even though they're 8-5 right now. Maybe they pick up another win. Who knows? Maybe they sweep a 4-game road trip because this team just keeps doing crazy things, and we have no idea what exactly we're getting out of this team night in and night out. So, Rui, let's get to our 3 keys to the game. Playing down to the opponent. That is something that the Kings have struggled with so far this season. A lot of young teams struggle with it. And I got to be honest, I think the Kings played down to their opponent. They come away with a 12-point win, but this is a 12-point win against a team that was depleted completely. What are your thoughts?
Yes, well, they played down to the Timberwolves for one half. Again, they struggled with the 2-3 zone, and the Kings, they honestly just came out with not too much energy tonight. But again, once McLemore spaced things out, everything settled down, and they were able to get interior passes to Cousins, who took off in the second half. The Kings, we always know that their roster's been talented the last few seasons, and a lot of their issues seem to be mental or just overlooking guys, and like they did against the Thunder in their last road trip. So they, again, with the Timberwolves missing Martin, Rubio, Pekovic, Turioff, and Thaddeus Young, they probably thought, they're like the 76ers West practically, and they did come out. They weren't the Kings weren't boxing out the Timberwolves very well in the first half, which allowed the Timberwolves to get 7 offensive rebounds in the first half, despite having Gorgie Dieng as their only center out there. So they did, but they snapped out of their haze in the second half and took care of business.
Yeah, Rui, you brought up the 2-3 zone there a couple of times, and I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, they wrote the book on how to pester the Sacramento Kings, how to sort of disrupt them, and the Kings are going to have to get better three-point shooting. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, this game opens up the second Ben McLemore starts hitting shots. He finishes 4 of 9 from behind the arc, and Collison, again, 2 of 4. So those guys sort of like righted the ship and got this thing going. They need Nick Stauskas to wake up. Nick Stauskas barely played at all in the previous game. Tonight he finishes 0 of 3 from the field. All 3 of his misses were 3-pointers in 7 minutes of action. The Kings need to figure out a way to hit some extra threes, or we're going to keep seeing this crazy zone that teams are running against them. So let's hit question number 2. Rudy Gay's health. He does have some Achilles tendonitis, and it's a concern. But at the same time, this is a team that that really relies on a couple of big-time guys, and we're going to probably see this be a nagging injury for a little while because Rudy Gay, of course, played with Team USA. He has not had a very good break, but tonight he plays 36 minutes, no break, and I think a lot of that is because the Kings left this team in the game.
Oh yeah, I mean Malone had no choice but to lean on Gay, which is a shame because you do want to see him, rest that Achilles. So if the Kings do make the playoffs, right, doesn't come back to bite them. He only had 5 points in the first half, and he finished with 14 on 5 of 12 shooting. But I guess tonight they didn't need him so much, maybe more as a threat because McLemore stepped up, and Cousins did his thing. But I would like to see maybe Malone manage his minutes or lower his minutes a little bit more moving forward.
I can see that being a possibility when they can. I mean, the Kings are going to play this out. They're going to give Gay minutes. They're going to give Gay breaks when they can. But again, you look at this week, and the schedule is pretty brutal. I mean, you're going to need Rudy Gay against Trevor Ariza. You're going to need him, all week long. It's just the way it is. You're going to need him against Tyreek Evans. And again, I'm going to bring this point up. Coach Malone talked about this in the other day that if Rudy Gay couldn't go against the Pelicans, that he was actually going to start a 3-guard set with Ray McCallum in the rotation, actually as a starter. And again, Ray McCallum doesn't get a single minute tonight, but he could be a guy that's called upon come Tuesday when the Kings take on the Pelicans. All right, let's get to our third thing. Derrick Williams minutes. I'm shocked. We've talked about this a little bit, but Rui, go ahead and talk about Derrick Showcase Williams.
Oh, right, Showcase. Yes. Well, just happens to be that Derrick Williams' $5 million deal, right? The last year of his rookie contract is expiring.
Yeah.
Oh, $6 million. So, maybe the Kings are just by force feeding him minutes, they're reminding the rest of the league, hey, this guy does have talent. He can, his shot is improved. He can still drive, right? He has quick feet now. So, I mean, I guess scouts are looking on. I think we know we're reminded that he's very athletic, right? Very raw. Just needs to be a little more aggressive. But he has shown, right? He's looking for a shot in the last 2 games.
Yeah, what I found with Derrick Williams is that you're kind of confused who he is as a player. And if we're confused on who he is as a player, I'm sure that everyone, including himself, is confused on who he is as a player. He's not a true jump shooter. He can take guys off the dribble, but he can't really create for himself. He's a fast break guy. He's not a guy you can run the offense through. He does, he does do a couple of things tonight. He had 6 rebounds. That was nice. But I'm just kind of surprised that Omri Caspi, who's played so well, tonight gets 3 minutes of action. I mean, scores 3 points in 12 minutes of action, 1 of 6 from the field. Again, you mentioned Carl Landry. Carl Landry, just because this was a matchup issue, I assume, 6 points, only plays 8:38 in this game. Even, Ramon Sessions, the guy who is the backup point guard still, plays a little under 15 minutes, scores 2 points. The bench is still a major issue with this team. Again, you come into a game tonight and they get like 23 points off the bench when they are facing a Minnesota team that was extremely balanced. You and I talked about this before we hopped on. They have 6 guys who score in double figures, another guy who finishes with 9. Of course, Wiggins leads with 29, but still a very balanced attack from a young Minnesota team where the Kings are relying so heavily on their core big 3 of DeMarcus Cousins, 31 and 18, Darren Collison, 19 points, 7 assists, Rudy Gay, 14 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. So they're still relying heavily on those guys tonight. Of course, they do get a nice boost from Ben McLemore, but this is a team that really it needs someone else to step up. And I guess if Derrick Williams is going to be that guy, I couldn't be more surprised after what's happened so far this season. But, crazier things have happened. All right, Rui, let's get to our player of the game. Who do you got tonight?
I'm going to go with McLemore. He had 9 points in the first half. He came out, really aggressive. And then, in the third quarter, he just took off. He was on fire. He made 3 threes. I believe he only missed 1 shot in the quarter, and he definitely, helped space the floor to get Cousins going. And, his defense, Wiggins did go off tonight. He did cover Wiggins for stretches, for good stretches, but, he did play him very hard and probably tired out Wiggins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's really tough. I think McLemore opened things up, and you're right. I think what he did do is he sort of cracked this game where DeMarcus Cousins could go crazy. But at the end of the day, Cousins, who's such a beast, I mean, man, he finishes with, again, I keep saying this, 31 points and 18 rebounds. He's got so many double-doubles already this season, 10 out of 13 games double-doubles, 6 straight double-doubles, 11 of 15 from the field, 9 of 10 from the line. It's one thing people say, oh, the Kings can't sustain this. Not only are they getting to the line too many times, they're also hitting their free throws at a clip that they shouldn't be hitting them at. I just say phooey. The Kings keep doing this, and I know 13 games is a small sample size, but the reason why they are 8-5 on this season is because of the aggressive play that they play with, especially in the post. I give sort of a dual player of the game to both of those players, but to Ben McLemore and to DeMarcus Cousins. But again, I'll also point out that Collison just keeps sneaking up and having great games. He had 4 turnovers tonight. Which is unusual, but in his last 3 games, he's got 30 assists and 5 turnovers. That's a pretty good assist-to-turnover ratio. So, Rui, do you have anything else for me?
Oh, well, just to add on to Collison, he didn't handle the ball so well tonight, but he did, he stayed aggressive, didn't lose any confidence, and he held Mo Williams to 5 of 16 shooting, kept them outside in the perimeter, 1 of 7 shooting from behind the 3-point line. So, when coming into this year, Darren Collison was always viewed as a shoot first, pass second guard, and Malone's really gotten to him. The coaching staff's really reached him, and made him understand, he needs to facilitate his talented sidekicks, Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins and company. So. When Collison is locked in like this and he's, passing, looking to pass, he's even better than before.
I agree. He has definitely been a breath of fresh air for the Sacramento Kings, and we'll keep continuing. We keep talking about him. You have to keep talking about him because he's been that good and he deserves to be talked about. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction postgame show. We will be back. I think it is back-to-back on Tuesday and Wednesday, the New Orleans Pelicans and the Houston Rockets, and again on Friday with another post-game road reaction show. You will be able to find the audio to this shortly after we finish this video, and you can listen to it on Podbean, on iTunes. We got it all over the place. So make sure to give us some feedback. These post-game road reaction shows have actually done really well, and so we'll keep doing them for you because we want to please the audience. So for Rui Thomas, I am James Ham. Sacramento Kings 113-101 over the Minnesota Timberwolves, 8-5 on the season. You've been listening to the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction postgame show. Have a good night.